We hebben een intermezzo. En dat is een intermezzo gemaakt door Nienke Terpsma en Robert Hamelijnck van Fucking Good Art. Hier ook aanwezig volgens mij. Nee, waren aan het monteren, hebben het net gered. Het is vers van de pers. Ze hadden een interview met Hans Widmer, wat ik al zei, de godfather van het coöperatief wonen in Zurich. En ze hebben het als het goed is over zijn nieuwste uiting, A Proposal, totale revolutie, nieuw concept. En in dit filmpje van volgens mij 10 minuten gaan we bekijken wat hij bedacht heeft voor de wereld. En dus ook voor ons.
I read your email about the questions you have.
Yeah.
I've read your email and it sounds all reasonable and important. But at the moment, I just read it a few seconds, so I don't have it, can't look at it. We have to do it now. It will be fragmentary anyway, you see.
Okay, that's a good idea. I think, Hans, Nienke, are you coming? Nou ja, in your new book, auf den Boden kommen, so to get to the basics, let's say, you all the way at the end. That's very nice, maybe to begin all the way at the end. Is that wenn wir alle so lebten, wäre der Planet gerettet. If we all lived like this, the planet would be saved. I think that is somehow where you're heading at with your whole project.
Yeah, you're alluding to my picture of a world Glomo 1. It's called the world palace. I call it a palace. Because everybody on this planet wants to live in the palace. Yes, they're not going to live in the old huts, nowhere. And those who live in huts, usually they tend to want to flee to Europe or the places where there are the palaces, metaphorically speaking. Now, this world palace is not just a random illustration for kids. It looks a bit like that, but it is a calculated thing based on the findings of the Stockholm Resilience Center. Maybe you have heard of them, Rockström and consorts, and they make an assessment of where are the planetary limits of our lifestyle? What can we do? How much, for example, private living space can we use? Because this space is also heated, built, etc. It has an ecological impact. Housing is 1/4. Then the food is 1/3 of our impact. What can we eat? And this means we is 8 billion people. It's not the Swiss. Most figures are Swiss figures in my book. It's not because I think Switzerland will save the world, but because I have the figures here. It's easier. Yeah, it's more difficult to get Dutch figures for me, and maybe. But if you do it for Holland or Netherlands, you will find the same. Swiss are not saints. Yeah. But now, this is calculated on these limits, you see? And it says, if we want to have less private space, we will get on each other's nerves if we all sit in little rooms and don't eat and freeze. It is not a good idea. So we can sit in small rooms, but then we need a kind of common rooms, huge, in the ground floor, where we can expand, meet people, sit, drink, smoke, and do all the things that we usually do in our flats. And the flats are not ideal forms of housing. That's what I'm saying with this, you see. So a lot of people have, in Switzerland, the most popular form of housing is a little house in the country, near a forest, with 2 dogs, 2 cars, and some rabbits, you see. And if everybody on the planet did this, you see, it would be instantly ruined, you see, because there's not enough space for 8 billion people to have little houses in the country. It's not true. Yeah. It's possible for maybe 10% of the world population. Yeah. But this is imperial lifestyle. So here, I call it, this is a German researcher who created this term. So the lives we live are imperial. It started around the mid-19th century, when the capital found out that they could corrupt the working class by giving them sugar, tea, coffee, and little houses.
Yeah. How to have a happy life for these 8 or 10 billion people, and
Yes.
not just the 10%.
No, I'm not saying happy. I say how can we find a framework that could allow happiness? Because people can still be depressed, whatever they do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if they want to be depressed or have to be, that is not our business, I think. We should not mingle with people's private lives, you see. And what they think, what they do, what they wear.
Yeah.
That was the whole idea. See, everybody can do what they want, but there are certain planetary limits that are not of our choosing. They are physical. It's like the sun is not circling around the Earth, not anymore. Huh? It stopped doing that 500 years ago and then switched over to capital.
But Hans, if it's all totally pragmatic, so
Yes.
does that also mean you would be in favor of one enlightened emperor who, with the numbers in hand, arranges it for everybody?
No, okay. I have been talking about ecology. Now the real thing is not ecology, as you just figured out. It is autonomy, or that we do it, you see, in different forms. It can be sociocratic, democratic, but in kind of forms so that everybody has a say in it. We have to organize that. We need institutions. There's no democracy without borders and institutions. Maybe I'm not a Hobbesian, but it goes in that direction. You have to really create a framework of bylaws. And that's the idea of the cooperatives. The cooperatives are very highly organized and structured democratic institutions. And it's in, out, the three things. The entry is regulated, exit or leaving is regulated, and the voice. You can, democratic voice, we can say everybody who is 16 and more, and not older than 200 years, has a vote.
Yeah.
Everybody has a pulse, let's say, and I think 16 years is a good limit, I think, because then we see it in our cooperative. Just a week ago, we allowed the 16 years old to have the full say. They didn't want it, by the way. No way. At that age, you don't want to even lift your hand. You see. No.
Yeah, no responsibility.
It's not the age of responsibility. You see, they do other things.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Except for the big climate demonstrations now. That's people of that age.
Yeah. They have disappeared like a rain cloud in the summer.
But it's winter. It's almost spring again.
Yeah, there's still maybe some snow left, and when the winter is over. No, it's amazing because it's about my fourth climate movement. You see, the first was in the 60s. The first demonstrations we had used to be against consumer society. Who would know?
Yeah.
But no, I hope still that some of these youngsters, and they are, left over to do important things. Most cooperatives in Zurich, you see we have 120, as you know, and you wrote it in your book.
Yeah.
They just want to provide people with cheap housing.
Yeah.
And they organize 2 grill parties per year, and that's it, you see.
Yeah. Well,
And your idea is?
My idea is this neighborhood should be an economic unit, you see. So we should produce our own food, like 20 miles outside of the city, 60 hectares we need. It's no big deal, there's enough of it. And then process it together and create paid or unpaid activities within the neighborhood or the global one. And so replace capitalism with something completely different, as Monty Python said.
does it have a name?
Not with a dead parrot. I think capitalism is a dead parrot. Did you notice that in their show, there's a symbol of capital, the dead parrot?